Greetings and welcome to Make Programming Fun Again. My name is Karol Moroz, and in this video I'm going to build a card service for our Bitcoin online store. If you are new to this channel, this video is part of a series about Bitcoin, and you can clone the repository built in this video from github.com/moroz/kinunomichi, and I will also add a link to this repository in the description below. Now we have already built quite some code in this application, and I'm going to start by generating a Goose migration so we can create some tables. Goose create cards SQL, and I'm going to open this create cards migration in my code editor, and I'm going to create two tables. I'm going to call one cards and I'm going to call the other one card items. So in create cards, I'm going to basically just store the ID, which is going to be a UUID. And this is the UUID we are going to store in a cookie. It is primary key. Then we are going to add inserted at, which is a timestamp with second precision, and default value is now at time zone UTC, and then updated at has the same, and then in the most of the magic is going to happen in card items, and this is going to also have a UUID primary key. Then it's going to belong to a card, so this is going to be a UUID not now references cards ID. Then it's going to belong to a product, UUID not now references products ID. Then we're going to have a quantity, which I'm going to put as decimal because for some products you don't really use whole units, you use more like fractions. Quantity decimal not now default 1, inserted at, the timestamp part is going to be the same. And then I'm going to add a unique constraint for card ID and product ID, and a check constraint for, check that quantity is greater than 0. And then in here drop table card items, drop table cards. Oh, and also I'm going to create index on card items, card ID. Yeah, that's good enough. Goose up, syntax error near cards, create card, oh, it's create table cards. Sorry, it's too early in the morning. My brain is not functioning yet. Create table card items, goose up, okay. So if I open psqueal and see cards, okay, looks legit. This looks legit, and I'm going to commit. So I made some modifications to the caching mechanism so we do not have to refetch the exchange rates every single time, because that's quite unproductive in the development environment. Okay. Create tables for cards. And then I'm going to build a service, and we're going to write some tests for this service. So card service.go, package services, and then type card service. You know what? We may be using this name on some sort of abstract, so I'm going to make it a public type, and it's going to contain a database connection, and I don't think we need anything else for the time being. And queries is the name of the module auto-generated by SQL-C, and then func new card service with a database connection, and it's going to return a card service, a pointer to a card service. Return new card service with a database connection, and then we can write some code. I'm going to make all the interactions be about card items, so I'm going to have a method called add card item. What are we going to have? I think this could actually be take struct params. So add card item, and maybe even better, I'm going to make it about adding product to cart, and add product to cart params, struct card ID, which is going to be a UID, which is a byte slice, and then product ID is also going to be byte slice. Quantity is going to be a decimal. But I think that's enough. Add product to cart, and it's going to take a context in which the database queries are going to run, and it's going to take the params, which is going to be a pointer to this struct type. I will just return the error for now because we don't really have the type to return yet. So I'm just going to return new, and we can start writing some tests. Cart service test.go, package services, and func test add product to cart, testing t. And first we can connect with database. We're going to need an exact copy of the testing database. So in the make file, I'm going to create a target called db test prepare. And yes, it is inspired by Rails. And having a db test prepare means we're going to need an environment variable for the test database. So I'm going to add a new sample variable to the envrc file, and it's going to be called test database URL, and it's going to be like analogous to this one, export test database. It's going to be called Kinenomichi test, and this is going to be test database, like this. And in the real envrc file, I'm going to paste this to SSL mode equals disable, SSL mode equals disable, and this is a file that is going to be picked up by a command line tool called derenv, and it's going to set these environment variables for me. But if you don't have derenv, which I do not recommend, you can just source this file, and it's going to work as well. As a proof that it works, if I unset this test database URL variable and unset this database URL, if I try to print it, it's empty, but if I source it, then it's going to be correctly set, because this envrc file is basically a is essentially a shell script, and in card service test we can connect to database error equals and we're going to have to connect to a database, and I usually use pgx pool. It's spelled like this, okay. But actually, as long as they have this, as long as they fulfill the queries dbtx protocol, it's fine. And I think it's fine. pgx connect a context background config must get env test database URL. Okay, am I actually connecting? Am I actually using this pgx package anywhere? Go mod tidy. Okay, I was not. Okay, yeah, I probably should be importing it like this. Did we import some? Okay, we did not import any crazy packages, okay. And even though I'm if you look at main.go, you may see that I'm connecting to the database using a different function, but that's fine because as long as they both have the same methods, it should be fine. Except that when we actually want to check out a transaction, we may need to match on types, which could be problematic, but we'll think about it if it happens. If error is not nil, t fatal error, and then we could do something like db result error equals database exec context background truncate cards cascade. You know what? Actually, I realized we haven't specified the behavior on delete. References cards on delete cascade. This means if I delete the card that this card item belongs to, the card item is going to be deleted, and then if we delete the product, it should also be deleted on delete cascade. Normally we shouldn't delete products in production, but for now it should be fine. Goose down, goose up. Okay. Truncate cards cascade. If there was an error, we abort the test, and let's see if we can. Okay, it seems that okay, did it, wait, what? How did it pass? Do we have a test database or what? A log println config must get env test database URL. I don't know why it's passing if we did not Oh shit, okay. It's I don't know why it's passing because yeah, sorry. .envrc envrc sample. Okay, we did not specify the name of the test database. So the connection works, but it's connecting to the default database. drenv allow make test. Okay, so now it's complaining. Failed to connect to user equals Postgres database equals Kirinamichi test because the database does not exist. And then in the make file, I'm going to specify what we want to. We want to check if there is a test database set, so we can specify that test, and I think it was specified like this. Was it specified like this? Make file guard. There is this shit. Okay. This is even shorter than what I used to read, but why is it complaining? Okay. So let's see if this is actually going to work. Guard test database and guard test database URL. And let's see if this is also going to guard us if, wait, no, guard foo. Let's see if this is going to guard us from a data, okay, wow. And so we want db test prepare. We want test to run db test prepare before we run it, and then we want db test prepare to check if this environment variable is set and if this environment variable is set. And I did not know this syntax, but apparently this works. So this %sign means it's a wildcard target, and then this is going, I think this is using makefile syntax. So if this variable is not set, then it's going to call an error with this message. Like so. Okay, and then in db test prepare we can run create db test database or true. Will it work like this? Okay, and then with the environment set to database goose db string. Was it like this? Yeah, goose db string equals test database URL. With the environment set to this, we run goose app. Okay, and this way we happily run the migrations. Okay. And then this means that we're going to have a database connection in here. And then, okay, so we are truncating cards, which means we're going to start the test with an empty table. And then we can run a subtest, trun well, with an empty card, new item with an empty card. I don't know if it's like heretic to specify like such descriptive test examples with Go, but we'll see. So actually, you know what? We want the service to work in such a way that if we pass a nil card ID, then it should create a new card. So, and we're going to create new services, new card service with the database connection. So actual error equals service why does this new services, it should have an add to cart, add product to cart, context background, and params is going to be add product to cart params, right? Oh, and we're also going to need some products in the database. So I'm going to create a seed file, and I'm just going to call it test seeds. And in a transaction, truncate products, insert into products, and what columns do we have in products? We have a ID, you know what, we can just copy one of the products from the existing database, right? PSQL, copy select everything from products, limit 1 to standard output, CSV. Okay, and we don't need all columns, we can just specify ID, title, slug, base price euro, body, I think it was called description. And then what else do we have? And image URL. Okay. And then I'm going to also add the header option, so it also prints the column names. And yep. I guess I'll just copy this, and I think think the syntax was like this. Database, okay, psql-c, okay. And I'm going to exclip-selection C. This is a Linuxism. This means copy to the clipboard, and then in here /copy products id title slug base price euro description image URL from standard input CSV header, and it ends with a \dot. And now in make file we can psql test database -f-db test seeds squeal. I think so. So now if I run make test, import cycle not allowed in test. Where is the import cycle? Okay, because it has to be in services test. Not like, okay, no wonder we didn't get auto completion. Okay, so now it's still not compiling. Cannot truncate a table reference in a foreign key constraint. That's in the seeds. Truncate products cascade. And then, okay, so we are correctly seeding. And notice truncate cascades to table card items, truncate table copy, great. Then the test does not compile because we have not specified, we have not incorrectly specified the type. So this is going to be this type, and we're going to pass card ID of nil, product ID of oh well, we need to get the product ID from seeds. And I'm just going to pass it here. And yeah, I'll just say like, so UID equal UID error equals hex decode string. Strings replace all in this string, no, in this string. And we're going to replace all dashes with empty strings. So this UID is going to be the slice, and the quantity is going to be decimal new from int 1. Expect the error to now what? I'm going to use assert no error. Assert. Is it this? No. Am I actually using? Am I actually importing assert correctly? I don't think so. Testify assert. Yeah, I'm going to make sure this is installed. assert no no error. No error, yes. Like so. And we have to pass the testing t. So now if I run make test, the test is passing, I think. Okay, the test is passing, and good. So we can write a helper function to count cards. Okay, can I nest functions like this? Func count cards. It's going to return an integer and an error. Okay, I don't think can I make it an anonymous function? Okay, I can make an anonymous function. So I'm just going to make it to use it like so we can make use of what was it called? Closures. Var count in 64. I know what, I'm just going to use int because it's the same and it's less typing. Error equals db query row context background select count from cards, and then scan to the count variable if return count error. So now we want to assert that there is one more card in the database. So count before error equals count cards, and then count after error. So assert no error in here and assert no error in here, and then we do not create a new variable in here, and then assert equals. We want to make sure that count after equals count before plus 1. And now this should fail because we are not actually creating a card, right? So in services, we start by we can start finally implementing these functions. And before I do it, I'm going to commit. I'm just going to use JJ squash. Okay. I know maybe I shouldn't do everything in one commit, but that's the way you do it in JJ. So first we're going to have to start a transaction, and I don't think there is an easy way to do it with this interface. Okay, what's a pgcon? Okay, so wait. In main.go, this database connection is going to return a pgx pool and an You know what, I'm just going to avoid the nuisance of having to match on types, and I'm just going to make sure everything uses pgx pool new, and this way I will know that the transaction error equals the s, so this is our own sdb pgx pool and yes, we have a pointer to a pool, and then we can start transaction, begin transaction, and it takes a context. And what else does it take? Okay, I assume it has some default values. If error is not nil, return error. And then I think we usually specify defer transaction rollback in the same context. And then maybe tx commit with the same context. And in here, we're going to define some new queries. So in db squeal cards squeal, I'm going to define a new query called insert card, which is going to be just exec, and this is going to insert into cards id values. First parameter SQL generate, and now queries new sdb insert. Okay, I don't think we have auto-completion for insert card because it was auto-generated. Insert card context, and the pg type UID is going to be it's a wrapper for an actual type, so it's going to be bytes for the params. Wait, if params card ID is nil, then we want to generate a new UID, and you're going to need this Google UID helper. Like, we're going to need this Google UID library to generate UID v7. Go get this, and then params card ID equals UID actually we may need to specify, like, to create a generator or something. Okay, I think I can just call UID new v7, and it Yeah, and I'm going to just ignore. Wait, what? Uses the randomness pool if it was enabled with enable random pool. On error, new v7 returns nil and an error. So we should also handle the error. So okay, we id error equals uid new v7. If error is not nil, we return the error, and then we can specify that the params card id equals id. What is this uid actually? How is this uid specified? It's okay, it's as 16 byte array. So can I don't think I can just pass it like this. No, I cannot. I have to slice it, and then error equals, we also insert a new card like so. So now if I run make test, the test should be passing because we are now creating a card. And I should probably move this to a helper or something, but we can do it later. And then we are going to, in the cards Bitcoin+Go, we can add a new function to insert card item, and we will return everything. That's what actually happens. Insert into card items id, card id, product id, quantity. Yeah, I think that's values 1, 2, 3, 4. On conflict of card ID and product ID, do update set product ID no, we are not setting product ID, we're setting quantity equals, and I'm going to set an alias for this table here, card items as CI quantity plus excluded quantity. And that means if we already have one of this item in the data in the card, if we add it again, we should end up with a sum of these two. So quantity is the sum of the old item and the new item, and updated at equals now at time zone UTC, returning everything. SQL C generate. Okay, and now we can call queries.new as.db, insert card item, context, and we have to restart the LSP to get actual auto-completion. So for ID, we're going to have to generate a new UID v7. If error is not nil, return error. So ID is going to be the ID. And now it's complaining, yes. PG-type UID valid, true, a value, bytes ID. You know what, I think I could probably just use this UID type in the database instead. I'm going to commit first. And for DB type, I think it's going to also be called pgcatalog.uid and Go type import Golang this type UUID, and the same for nullable, I think. And for nullable, it's going to be a pointer. So squilc generate, and now in the models, okay, it's still specified as pg-type UID. Squilc override UID type. How do I do it? Okay, it's just UID, not PG catalog, right? So squilc yam, and then like so. Okay, so now it was overridden, and the database is going to expect actual UID types, and this means that in the params okay, I'm going to specify this as a pointer to a UID.UID, and this is going to be an actual UID because it cannot be nullable. And then if the ID is nil, we're just going to pass it here. Yeah, it's going to be a pointer to this UID, and then it's going to be the UID like this, much less typing, and then we can just use this value. Okay, so ID is ID, and then what else? Card ID is going to be params card ID, and then product ID is going to be params product ID, and quantity is going to be params quantity. Okay, nothing else. So now in the test, I'm going to, okay, what? Okay, okay, so now it's complaining about the fact that we are using just a binary that we parsed from a string and not an actual UID. So error equals, we're going to have to parse this UID. Parse. Like so. If error is not nil, T. You know what, actually, yeah, T fatal error. And or even assert no error in here. Then it's a bit less typing. Oh, this should still be a fatal. And now, if I run the test, it's still passing. And we can count card items maybe. And card items. And I'm going to rename this to cards before. And I'm going to rename this to cards after. And I'm going to also count items before, and this is going to count card items, and items after is going to be this, and assert equal items before, items after, like so. So we are checking that there is one more card item after we inserted it into the database. Okay, this is passing, and we can commit, and okay, great. So now we want to know that if we already have a card, right? So we want to make sure that trun reuses existing card if card ID is present, func testing t. So we want to make sure that there is no difference in there, right? No, error add product to cart, and I want to create a cart first. Cart ID is going to be UUID new v7, assert no error, and then error equals db exec with the context of background, insert into cards ID values like this, and we pass the card ID and assert no error, and we cards after. You know what, actually we could probably just say that if error is not nil, t fatal error. This way we don't have to handle the error handling. Count cards, and we do something similar in here, count card items. if error is not nil, t fatal error. And this way we can count like this. So cards after is count cards, items after equals count cards, and then we can just inline it. Card items. So we want to assert equal. We want to assert that the count of cards before is cards before is equal to count cards, and that there is no error when we inserted it. So assert no error. T error, and we want to assert that there is the same number of cards as before, and we want to assert that there is a new item. Items before +1, count card items. Let's see, make test. Okay, because we did not pass this card ID. Card ID. So now the tests are passing. And we should probably also write a test for reusing card items. So reuses card items when they have the same product with the same product ID. I'm going to create a new card, like so, using the original method. And yeah, I'm going to make sure they still create a new card, and then I'm going to also assert that there is no that if I wait, I'm not returning anything, so I cannot know. Okay, so now I'm going to have to start returning things. So what does this return? It returns a card item. So I'm going to return a pointer to a card item, queries dot card item and error, and this is going to be nil. This is going to be nil. This is going to be nil. 49 nil error. And we return item error, like so. If error is not nil, return nil error. And then we return item nil. So now this is going to return an item as well. So item error equals this, and we can ignore this item. 74 is item error. And we ignore the item. Yep. And we could actually we're going to need this item, and we're going to assert that the item's card ID equals the card ID that we passed to the add product to cart function. So this is going to be item error, and item error, and we can pass the card ID from, wait, what? Why is this still? Are you sure this is still a PGType ID, or why? Equals YAML add product to cart params. Oh, because no, this is not. It why does item cart ID return PGType ID? Does it really still return PGType ID? No, hell no, it does not. So this means this is wrong. Okay, and it was just an LSP error. And so now, and equal T decimal new from integer 5 item quantity. Make test, and the tests are passing. Okay, you know, there are still a few cases that we should handle. We should handle like checking if the cart, if it's going to error out if we pass a non-existent cart ID, if we pass a non-existent product ID, but these are mostly handled by the database using foreign keys. So there's, I'm pretty sure they will error out, and the video is just too long for now. I'm going to commit, and I'm going to describe the commit implement cart service, gb main jj bookmark track main at origin git push. Okay, so this was cart service on. This was a video about implementing the cart service. If you have enjoyed this type of content, you can consider joining my Discord waiting list. If you do not enjoy this type of content, you may consider at least liking and subscribing. It's going to help me with my channel. And until that happens, I'm going to goodbye, and I will see you in the next video.